He thought she would fill the void. He thought he would finally be happy. He thought he would finally have the life he dreamed of. He was so wrong. And if you're honest, there's a good chance you've believed the same thing. Most men do. They just don't say it out loud. A man tells himself he wants a relationship. What he really wants is relief. Relief from loneliness. Relief from boredom. Relief from uncertainty. Relief from waking up every morning with the feeling that something is missing. And because that feeling is painful, he starts looking for someone to solve it. A woman becomes the answer to a question he never understood. The problem is, the question was wrong from the beginning, because the void most men feel isn't created by the absence of a woman. It's created by the absence of purpose. A man without direction feels empty. A man without goals feels empty. A man without standards feels empty. A man who knows he's capable of more but refuses to act on it feels empty. And instead of fixing that problem, instead of looking within himself, he starts chasing women, because chasing women is easier. Building yourself is hard. Discipline is hard. Purpose is hard. Looking in the mirror and admitting you've been wasting your potential is hard. Downloading another dating app is easy. That's why so many men confuse attention with fulfillment. For a while, it feels great. A woman responds to his messages. She laughs at his jokes. She wants his attention. She wants his time. And suddenly, life feels exciting again. But excitement and fulfillment are not the same thing. Most men learn that lesson the hard way, because eventually the relationship becomes ordinary. The honeymoon phase ends. Real life shows up, and so does the real her. And now the same emptiness he felt before her starts showing up again. Now he's confused because he got what he wanted. He found the woman. He got the relationship. He got the attention. And he's still restless, still dissatisfied, still searching. Why? Because the woman and the relationship wasn't the solution to the problem. It only distracted him from it. That's the part nobody talks about. A relationship doesn't transform a man. It reveals him. If he's insecure before the relationship, he'll be insecure inside of it. If he's needy before the relationship, he'll be needy inside of it. If he's lost before the relationship, he'll be lost inside of it. Nothing changes. The spotlight just moves. And that's why so many men become disappointed after getting exactly what they wanted. Because they spend years chasing a woman, but never spent any time building a life. Those are two completely different things. A lot of men think they're searching for love. They're actually searching for meaning. That's an important distinction. Because the moment a man expects a woman to become his purpose, he's already putting a burden on her she was never designed to carry. She can't become his identity. She can't become his self-respect. She can't become his mission. She can't become his reason for existing. No human being can. And eventually, when he loses the relationship, when she walks away, he's absolutely crushed. Because not only did he lose the relationship, he lost himself. But he's not a broken man. He's a man who neglected himself. There's a big difference. A man doesn't become empty overnight. He becomes empty because he stops building. He stops learning. He stops growing. He stops challenging himself. He stops pursuing anything that gives his life meaning outside of a relationship. Then one day he looks around and realizes something uncomfortable. The relationship became his entire identity. That's a dangerous place to be, because now his happiness depends on another person's choices. His confidence depends on another person's approval. His peace depends on another person's mood. And that's not love. That's dependency. But a lot of men call it love because dependency sounds weak. When your entire emotional state depends on another human being, you've handed away more power than you realize. That's why breakups destroy some men. Not because they lost a woman, because they lost themselves years before she left. She wasn't holding his identity. She was covering up the fact that he didn't have one. Then she leaves. The relationship is over, and suddenly he's forced to face everything he avoided. The loneliness, the lack of purpose, the lack of direction, the lack of self-respect, the same problems that existed before he ever knew her. Now the emptiness doesn't have a distraction anymore. Now they're left with heartbreak, pain, and themselves. And this same pain finally forces them to confront reality. For the first time in years, they start asking better questions. What am I building? Where am I going? Who am I without her? What kind of man have I become? A man who cannot answer those questions will spend his life chasing substitutes. One relationship, then another, always believing the next woman will be the solution to every problem, the next relationship, the next person, the next marriage, and the cycle never ends because he's still looking for someone else to build what only he can build for himself. That's why the happiest men aren't the men who revolve their entire lives around women. They're the men who have something bigger they're building, a mission, a purpose, a craft, a business, a goal, something that exists whether a woman is present or not. Those men still want love. They still want companionship. They still want relationships. But they don't need a relationship to justify their existence. One man is looking to be rescued. The other man is looking for companionship. One man is searching for someone to save him from his life. The other man has already built a life worth living, and that changes everything. Because when a man has purpose, he's no longer desperate. When he's no longer desperate, he makes better decisions. When he makes better decisions, he stops tolerating everything he shouldn't. He stops begging for attention. He stops chasing validation. He stops accepting relationships that drain him. And that's where things start to change. The less he needs a relationship, the healthier his relationships become, the more fulfilling his life becomes, because now he's choosing. He's not clinging. He's not negotiating from fear. He's not terrified of being alone. He already survived being alone. He already built himself. He already knows who he is. And that's where real confidence comes from. Not from women, not from dating, not from validation, from knowing you'll be fine with yourself, knowing that you're a whole man without a woman, knowing that being alone and loneliness are not the same thing. That's what most men are actually searching for. Not love, freedom. Freedom from needing someone else to tell them they're enough. Freedom from building their identity around another person's approval. Freedom from believing their life starts when a woman arrives. Because it doesn't. Your life is happening right now, in this very moment. Not someday, not after marriage, not after the perfect relationship. Right now. And every year spent waiting for a woman to give your life meaning is a year you could have spent creating the life you want and building your purpose. That's the biggest lie men believe about being single. The lie is not that a woman will make you happy. The lie is deeper than that. The lie is believing your life is on hold until she arrives. It isn't. And the day a man understands that is the day he stops looking for a woman to complete him and starts realizing he was already whole, long before she ever showed up.